And so this video begins in Lake Panasoffkee, Florida, alongside the highway here. This marathon caught my attention. I'd say somewhat abandoned. There is a for lease sign right there on the building. Old Marathon gas station. Also, I see like a payphone over there. I don't know if the phone's in there. Look at that relic. Phone here, but there's actually no phone here. Looks like it's gone. There is like a wire hanging here. Old phone line. Also, oh, this part fell off, sitting behind it. That was once on here. Wonder how long ago someone made a call at that payphone. Let's look inside of the windows. Got some graffiti there. Windows are broken. Yeah, this place is for lease. Right here on the south side of Lake Panasoffkee, a very small town. I'm actually headed a little ways north. I took the back roads. Check out the booth. Also, there's a 12-pack down there for $3.69. Now, I have not seen a 12-pack of beer for that price ever. I doubt that's accurate. Even got the old coolers back there. Check it out. And this would be the entrance. There you go. The cash register would have been right there on the counter, of course. Yeah, comment below if you've ever stopped here. How long ago was this place open? Seems like it's been a while. Thought this would be a great place to begin the video. I'm actually heading up to a place I've always wanted to go. A Florida roadside attraction. Check out the birds up here. I've passed this place for years, and today is the day I finally go. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome if it's your first time. I want to start off by saying thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for clicking on the video. Happy New Year. I hope everyone is off to a good start in this brand new year. I just really want to leap into this new year with a smile on my face and to announce to you that I have so much ahead. I have air tickets, plane tickets booked, plans, all kinds of plans, just like every year I do on this channel. I'm always looking forward to the new year, to a brand new start. Got a lot of ideas, a lot of travel plans, and we're going to go to a lot of places and see a lot of things as we always do here in 2025. 2024 was one of the biggest years yet for me as far as the channel. We traveled more, we saw more places, we went to more roadside attractions. We continued the roadside attractions and abandoned places series here in Florida. Put out a lot of those episodes, so just a nice little punctuation on the end of 2024 here in the second day of 2025. Thank you. Just had to go back to that a little bit. Thanks again for everyone for being so awesome to me. I really appreciate you. Today, I'm heading up to Belleview, Florida. I'm gonna get off of the old Belleview exit on Interstate 75. Right there, you may have passed it over the years. There's a sign right off the interstate. It's a roadside attraction. This is called Don Garlits Drag Racing Museum. Don Garlit was a legend in drag racing, and I believe Don Garlit is still with us. I believe he's an elderly man in these days. I think I was reading he's in his 90s, but he started this drag racing museum many years ago, and I remember passing it when I was a kid. And also, I used to live in Ocklawaha, which was the exit of Bellevue I would take to get there. And I must have passed this place hundreds of times over the years, and I always said, hey, I need to go check out this drag racing museum. And today, my first video in 2025, I'm gonna make that happen. We're gonna see a bunch of cars. I'm not so sure what else is in there. I also saw a sign at this attraction that said Antique Car Museum, antiques, all of that stuff. We're gonna get in the video. We're just gonna go explore the place. And if you've been there before, that's awesome. First time, I hope it lives up to the legend. I have no idea. I'm into racing. I used to be into racing when I was a kid. Don't know much about drag racing. I went to a couple of drag races all those years ago, but don't remember a thing. I know Don Garlit. His name is pretty famous. I know he won a lot of championships over the years, set a lot of records. Hoping to find out more about him when we get there. This is a long-winded intro, but it was absolutely necessary, guys. Thank you for watching. Let's head over to the Drag Racing Museum. there's much ahead. And here we are on 75 northbound in Marion County, approaching exit 341, the Belleview Dunellen exit. You're gonna start to see the drag museum right here on the right. Actually, it's right out there. Garlits, right there on the billboard. This is it. This is what I'm talking about. I've been passing this for years. It's pretty big. Big Daddy Don Garlits. I think I've been saying the name wrong. And there's also an antique museum right there. There's also a Florida Citrus Center over here that I've vlogged before. It had a lot of dead alligators inside. And turn right here at the Taco Bell Don Garlits Auto Museums. And it looks like Don Garlits Museums, Antiques, Race Cars, Drag Racing Hall of Fame, hours 9 to 5. Looks like they're just closed on holidays. Just check out their schedule. I'll put a link to the website in the description below. I am very interested in checking out the Antique Car Museum. That's more my thing. That's gonna be cool. That's a cool surprise. And I have parked my vehicle. I'm noticing there are 4 buildings. This one, actually there's more over there, but these are the 4 main ones. That one, which is the main entrance to the Museum of Drag Racing, and 2 right next to it. One in between this one and that one that says Antique Car Museum. And check this out. Giant jet. Navy jet. Looks like this must have been on some sort of an aircraft carrier. They've got the cable here like you'd see in Top Gun that would catch it. That's pretty cool. It says Captain Lights Lehoots. I'm sure I'm butchering that name. There's a plaque up here. Let's get a little closer. Pretty cool. Check out the cannon launchers right here. Don Garlits and the U.S. Navy. So there we go. I guess he was in the Navy. In 1971, just before Christmas, President Nixon asked me to go to Vietnam to cheer up the troops. These were the young people who were not going to make it home for the holidays. So I guess he was not in the Navy, but he knew them. After I returned to the United States, I contacted Tom Hall of the U.S. Navy recruiting to see if I could help inspire young people to join the Navy. For if you had to go to Vietnam, the Navy was the way to go. During the spring of 1972, Tom arranged for me to shoot a Navy recruiting poster aboard the USS Lexington during a training mission in the Gulf of Mexico. This is the first A-7 to catapult and arrest on any aircraft carrier. So this was a A-7 jet. This monument erected March 11, 1976. Goes on to mention the names here. Pretty cool. It's a big jet. Pretty neat that he was involved with the U.S. Navy and helping them recruit during the Vietnam War. We know a little something about Tom. Let's head in. I like the mouse there. That's pretty cool. And before we head in, just noticing all these bricks here with all these names on them. Possibly patrons, possibly could buy these bricks. Yeah, it says they're open 9 to 5 every day except for Christmas and Thanksgiving. So there you go. Let's head in. All right, so I just visited the gift shop / admission office. That's the door we just walked in a few moments ago. I paid up. It was $22 for my ticket. Got my pit pass here. And we begin the drag racing museum. There's a lot of cars in here. Got a lot of stuff to see. We'll start with the first one, which is right over here. There's a picture down here of Don and someone else with this very drag car. Looks like this was, wow, 1959 at Bakersfield, California. That's where that picture was taken. That's the same car right here. So this was one of his first dragsters. Wyland Special, Tampa, Florida, hot rod right here, dragster. And there's Big Daddy right there himself. That's Don. Also, the ticket was $22. They do offer discounts for first responders, military, senior citizens. Here's the Kindle Oil drag car, one of Don Garlits, also Die Hard Battery sponsored. Krager, STP. Look at that. Motor right behind you. Look at all that. Man, that torque. I would love to drive that. That would be great. So this is the Swamp Rat, nicknamed Swampy, right there on this chair behind the car there. Notice that same rat on the building. So that must be another one of his nicknames. Swamp Rat. Here's a cool display here. Big Daddy, Don Garlits, and Kindle Motors Oil. The winning combination. Big blue dragster here. Die-Hard batteries. This is the Swamp Rat number 27, built in 1981 by Big Daddy. Gearbox, Belleview, Ohio. It's powered by a 454 cubic inch Dodge Hemi, supercharged by an 8.71 Mooney hand blower, fuel injected, and burns nitromethane. Looks like $40 a gallon. The Dodge Hemi produces 2,700 horsepower. The engine was mounted sideways to take advantage of the engine's torque to cause the rear wheels to have more traction. Best times to date were Orange County, California, 230 miles per hour, and then time 6.2 in Miami, Florida. Read all that there on the sign. It's a really pretty color. Check out that. There's some Kindle oil with Don Garlits right there, right on the boxes. Just across from that last car, this car was Bo Weevil's. Check it out. Pretty cool. It's got a blower on there. Check out this car here. Pretty cool. Piranha. It's got the engine behind the driver's seat. Driver was Walt Stevens, mechanic Joe Annery, builder Fred Smith, paint Gene Winfield. Look at that engine. And I guess behind every car here there's a sign that you can read, talks more about the cars. This one looks like a spaceship. That's awesome. Barry Setzer. This car belonged to Barry Setzer. Like the spoiler right above your head there. Man, I would love to drive one of these things. There you go, U.S. Navy. It's one of Don's cars. We read about his history. Big Daddy's history with the Navy outside with the jet. For a second there, I thought that person was real. It startled me. Kind of looks like the Tin Man. Something that pit crew would wear. That's crazy. What else is crazy? The amount of drag cars right here in a row. Look at all these. Pretty neat. I like this one, red, white, and blue. This was John Wybe, W-I-E-B-E car. Garlits and Malone. Super shops. I like all the mannequins. Kind of reminds me of the Indianapolis 500 Auto Museum a little bit. Just the setup of it. Used to go to that with my grandpa when I was a kid a lot. Check this out. The Bug 183. This is an old one. Old drag cars. Look at this. Oldsmobile Rocket. That looks fun. I would definitely drive that. Not only does it have a motor on the front, check this out. It's got a motor on the back. And that one says Cadillac. I don't know what's going on there. That's pretty cool. And this car belonged to Dick Kraft, nicknamed the Bug. 1941 to 1950, the first rail dragster ran at Muroc Dry Lakes in the early 40s when the first real drag strip opened at Santa Ana. Kraft was there every week, stripping the Bug down each time till everyone called it a rail, a name that has been pegged to the dragsters to this day. Dick Kraft restored the Bug in 1985 and sold it to the Musem. Dick is retired now and living in Mexico. So there you go. A little history of this car right here. The Bug, 1941 to 1950. It does look like the old Indy cars used to look. Just more, not as sleek. Check out this hot rod. I like the color. Speed Sport Automotive, Tucson, Arizona. Old Noisy is what it's called. 1957 rear engine, 27-ton Roadster. 2017. I don't think it's 27 tons. The original Speed Sport Roadster driven by Red Greth and Lyle Fisher. It's pretty. Also the one behind it. I like that green on yellow. That's pretty cool. This is the Magwinder, driven by Chuck Jones in 1962 to 1964. Like the little snake. Has the S there, the Sidewinder. Who remembers your funny car Hot Wheels or Matchbox? This is really neat. I would love to see a funny car race. I've never seen one in the wild. This is the Rocket. That's pretty neat. It's pretty small. I think these cars are normally a little bigger, like full size. That's a really cool funny car. And this car right here, not only sponsored by Coors, but I'm seeing this over here. Check this out. Sizzler Family Steakhouse. All right. Do those even exist anymore? Sizzler still a thing? There might be some over in Orlando. This is a 1982 Corvette. 480 cubic inches. Driven by Keith Black. Horsepower, 2,500 horsepower. I'm reading this down here to the right. It's got that giant motor just popping out of the hood. Check that out. I like that. Coors. And there's a whole nother room to this museum. We barely made a dent. I'm gonna just show the stuff that pops out to me that I take interest in. There's a lot to see here. Total Performance Inc. Don Garlits Museum of Drag Racing. Oh, we can read about it up here. In 1988, this is the Swamp Rat 33. Don Garlits and Rich Vinza decided to go to the Bonneville Nationals and run a streamliner. So this is a streamliner. This event was sponsored by the Southern California Timing Association and was held on the Bonneville Salt Flats near Wendover, Utah. So there's a lot to read there. Basically, it's saying that this car broke some records and went over 200 miles per hour. This is the kind of car that you break sound barriers with. Pretty interesting. Roy Hill's Drag Racing School. Budget rent-a-car. Look at this. This thing looks more like a stock car. Driven by race car driver Roy Hill. I like the black on orange. And this looks like a Dodge. Geez, what were those called? I can't remember. Dodge Daytona. That's it. It's right there. I cheated. Wayne County Racing. Daryl Alderman drove this. Mopar. Two of my great-grandfathers worked for Chrysler. All right, we're barely making a dent. So there's two middle rows over there. Two more rows I didn't really walk down. There's a room down there. And then over here is the engine collection. And they're playing a little presentation over here. Sit down there and watch that. Whoa. So here's half of the room. These motors just sitting underneath the glass here. These were all used. Garlits JP1 Dodge. There's a blown Oldsmobile motor. This is all nicely put together and labeled. Everything I've seen so far. Displayed really nice. Very clean in here. Check that out. 426. Mopar. Tell it's Mopar by the orange. Check this out. I think this is a GM. It's a GM green. Oldsmobile 1949 Rocket 88. We saw one of those out there. Got all kinds of parts in here. There's a Plymouth Hemi. That's pretty neat. There's a Chrysler Hemi. Another Hemi. It's got a Hemi in it. It's mostly Mopar. Check that out. Just let the camera roll a little bit in this engine room. Look at that thing. That thing's tall. Russell ProFlex hose systems. Swamp Rat 31. I like that he numbers all of his cars. This was 1987. You got the Swamp Rat there. Looks like a piece of the fiberglass broke off. They just put it in the case there. There's Big Daddy Don Garlits in 1989. So he is 92 years old. I wonder if he comes up here. It would be cool to meet the man, the myth, the legend. This is neat. Someone built this model of this garage over here. Look at this, very detailed. Wow. And it goes on. Look at this. Just sitting here behind the glass. Really neat. Got some cars in there. That took a lot of time. And it says right here, Race Prep, Service Motors. These look like the sides of the play barn sets I used to have when I was a kid. Like they kind of used that to build this like setup. That's really neat. And the wall of carburetors. Edelbrock. Look at that. Performance carburetors. Man, I miss carburetors. Those are fun. Not as good on the environment as, you know, fuel injected cars, but still fun. They sounded a lot better. Ho, 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 ho. As Tim Allen would have. Ho, ho. And last but not least, in this room, I saw this guy over here. He's got the pipe in his mouth. His shirt says Smokey. And then right here in front of him, Henry Smokey Unix, Best dang garage in town, paraphrased it. Dyno Meter. The legendary Smokey Unique used this dyno at the shop in Daytona Beach from 1955 to present. So this machine right here, this was his diagnostics machine that you slap the engine just right in here and it would, you know, test everything it needed to be tested. Long story short. Thank you, Smokey. This is a Chevy V8 1955 Darlington NASCAR. And over here is a picture of the real Smokey. There he is right there. Pretty neat contraption. Check this out. There he is too. Guess he always had the pipe. So there you go, this dyno tester right here. Invented by good old Smokey. Henry Unix. I said Unix. Whoops. This case here at the far end. This would be the south end. All the way down, these are all Don Garlits trophies and awards. Looks like he even had a grandfather clock in there. Maybe he won that. See a lot of trophies. It's pretty fantastic. You can imagine. World's largest drag trophy. So this is the world's largest drag trophy. And can you guess which state it came from? Of course it came from Texas. That's pretty amazing. Won by Bobby and Ruth Langley. So Don didn't win this. In July 1957 at Corpus Christi, Texas. This trophy was custom made by Top Eliminator by the local Hot Rod Club. Wow, that's really cool. These are all Don's. That's incredible. I mean, check it out. It just keeps going. All these trophies. I like these trophies too. They're all the same. It's just the guy holding the wheel there. That's awesome. Oh, this is the Gator National Trophies. This drag car called the Spirit of America. Hence the red, white, and blue. Spirit of America. This is Craig. Reading the sign over here. Breedlove. 1964. Craig Breedlove raced this car. And then right behind it, speaking of Hot Wheels, Don Prudhomme got the Hot Wheels drag car. Snake 1. It's pretty cool. And also here is another snake car. Don's car. Don Prudhomme. Probably butchering that name, but this is also a funny car. A little bit bigger than the other one. Full size funny car. Check this out. Look up in there. Can you imagine driving that? That'd be wild. Would definitely do it. I thought that was a real person down there looking at me. It's not. I thought you were real, buddy. He was giving me the look. Like dead eye right there. He's looking right at me. It was at the perfect angle. What do you got here? This is more of Don Prudhomme's. Probably butchering that name. More snakes. Hot Wheels. Sponsored by Hot Wheels and Pepsi. Look at that. Had to be the 80s, right? Alright, I'm about ready to go into the other room here in the drag museum. But over here against the wall, check these out, these old bikes. This little Kawasaki 75. Here's a Honda scooter bike, ST90. That's really neat. There's another one right there. A blue one. And check this one out. Look at this scooter. I've never heard of that. Cousin Eddie. Judging by the leisure suit, this is all the 70s stuff over here. That's pretty cool. 70s Big Daddy. Look at that. Right there. There he is. Big Daddy wins the Fram filters. Wins with Fram filters. I used to sell Fram filters. Entrance. Check it out. I see some trucks in here. Some drag trucks. Wow, this place really opens up. Now, we have not yet been to the Antique Car Museum, which I'm really looking forward to that. They even got like a simulator here, drag simulator going. Looks like you pay the money here. I don't know if it's working. Tokens only. Whoa, that's pretty neat. All these buttons to switch. Here's more of these big tall daddies here. Check out the big spoilers. This is a lot of the newer stuff. Summit Racing. Castrol. There's a ton of drag racers in here, of course. Ultra Digger is the name of this one. It's got some NOS on there. Emily Oil sponsor right there, Emily Arena, home of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Another funny car. Rebels Jungle Gym. That's neat. Like they've got like a jungle guy there, like George of the Jungle, but it's Jim of the Jungle. All right, you've heard of Don Garlits, but have you heard of Ed Garlits? 1961 AHRA National Gas Champion, Florida State Champion, 1957, 58, 60, and 61. Looks like he was born in 1933, died 2020. I think this was Don's brother. And he was also into drag racing for Don. These are some of his cars here. This is the 1958 Swamp Rat 2 Chevrolet. Don and Ed Garlits campaigned a gas dragster powered by a small block Chevrolet engine. Chrysler heard about the project and started helping us with the Hemi engines to discontinue the Chevy program. So, okay, there you go. Looks like they got Mopar to outbeat GM. Mopar wanted to get involved with their success, so that's why we see a lot of Mopar. And they were from Tampa, Florida. I'm seeing Tampa everywhere on all these cars, so that's really cool that they're from Tampa. I didn't know that. It's just a lot to see and do here. Check this out, old Harley. Race bike, drag bike. That's neat. Got some footage playing here, some drag racing. I think it's this car right here. This car right here. Garlits and Malone. There it goes. Whoa! Oh my gosh, it wrecked. Okay, so that makes sense. Look at this. You just saw it on video. It's broken in half right here. It's pretty cool they have that footage there. Hope they were okay. Wow, that's that car right there. That's pretty impressive. You can see the motor's all messed up. The spoiler. Wow, yeah, pretty dangerous. I mean, any racing is dangerous, but I can imagine your chances increase with the speed. Got this baby blue Ford Coupe, George Montgomery, 1934 Ford Coupe. That's really cool. I think it's a Ford. These are really neat cars here. This blue one here, another Ford. I believe this one over here, this is a Chevy. No, it's also a Ford. What am I saying? 1941 Willys. During the early 60s, a whole new breed of hot rods was born. The full-fendered gassers, as they were called, of Big John Masmanin, Stone, Woods, and Cook, Ohio, George Montgomery, and there's a lot of names there. These exciting machines hold many memories in drag racing. The Red Willys of K.S. Pittman is no exception. There's a red Willys coupe and then a 1937 blue Willys coupe right next to it. Really pretty cars. And right here is the nice little gift shop. They got restrooms, they got beverages. Just your typical gift shop. A lot of cool t-shirts. Big Daddy Don Garlits. That's really neat. Also, check this one out. Museum of Drag Racing. A t-shirt for the attraction. That's really nice. They got a lot of cool stuff in here, even race flags. This reminds me of being around the track in Speedway, Indiana a little bit. All the gift shops up there. Look at this. I like these Rat Fink shirts. Alright, stepped outside of the Museum of Drag Racing. You could spend hours in there. There is so much stuff to look at. Now it's time to get it going though, to the antique portion of the car museum. I'm really looking forward to this. Got 75 in the background. Back there you got the Garlits Museum of Racing billboard. Got the side. You got the Texaco in the car over here. We're going to take a look at it. Got old Sky Chief pumps. 2 of them. Don't know what kind of car that is. I'm going to get a little closer. Cool to see the old Texaco sign. And this car is a Chrysler Imperial. You can kind of make out the Imperial right there. There's the crown. That's a dead giveaway. The emblem right there. Nice Chrysler Imperial, or Chrysler 300, I believe, would be the latest model. I think those are similar. It's an old one. Who knows? Probably early 50s if I had to guess. Look at that chrome. A little rusty. A little rust bucket. Alright, let's head inside. Let's check this place out. Alright, I got my ticket ready. Looks like you just enter right here to the right. We've got picnic tables out here if you're looking for a spot to picnic. Oh wow. Hello.
Bathrooms are right behind you. If you
Thank
have
you.
questions, just let me know. Photographs are okay, but please do not touch vehicles and display it.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
It's really nice. All right, so they checked my ticket once I got in the door. Look at this place. Wow, there are a ton of cars in here. Oh my gosh. Also, we got more motors right here, encased nicely. This car on my right, check this out. This is a Cadillac convertible coupe, 1932. Looks like something you would see in an old Hollywood movie. Could have been. And right there, beyond Betty Boop there, you got what they used to call the rumble seat right there. I would love to ride in that. That's beautiful. I like the color too. It says it was donated by the Musem by Gordon Locke of Ocala, Florida for future generations to enjoy. Really pretty. Check this out. Old safe. Couple old safes and a bicycle. Pierce bicycle, 1902. This bike was made for cobblestone streets. It's really classic looking. I like that. James Dean, Rebel Without a Cause, one of my favorite movies right there. It's really cool to see James Dean and Marilyn Monroe in a picture, although I don't think they ever met in real life. Also, you got Marlon Brando over there. Wild one. Got a dragster there. Dirt Track Midget is what it's called. 1946 Deuce of Hearts. It's got the history right there. And then over here, can't go in there, but we can take a look. Got a bunch of antiques, including a piano. All kinds of stuff in here. And there's rifles back there. Look at that. Bunch of old rifles, military rifles, it looks like. I see an M1 and an M1 carbine in there. I see several of them actually. There's a lot more than cars in here. There is stuff everywhere you look. This place is packed. Look at these antique slot machines. Also cameras. This is pretty neat. Check out these spray guns. Then over here, this fella, he's working on the car right now. That's cool. Wow. There's just so much stuff in here. This is insane. There are so many cars. Wow. Alright, I'm just going to go down the line here. This is a 1928 Ford Roadster. 1929 Ford Roadster. Model A two-door. Tudor. This is a 1952 Ford Deluxe. 3-window. This right here is a 1932 Ford Roadster. Check this out. Ford Cabriolet. Convertible. So far, these are all Fords. Just going down the line here. It's a 1932, 1934. I like this one with a red stripe. 1934. Another Cabriolet. This is a 35 Roadster. This is an original 1936 Ford Roadster. This unbelievable 36 was an estate car from Cape Cod. It was always stored in the winter and used for a short period during the summer. It was only driven 72,000 miles, according to the sign there. It's really pretty. You got the seat in the back. Got a bunch of old motors in here. There's a Mercury. And then over here along the wall, we got more Fords. Wow, these are really pretty cars. What a collection. Didn't expect all these antique cars. Just more so dragsters. This is a 1940 Ford Convertible Club Coupe, and I really like the green. Then right next to it, a 1940 Chop Top, because they cut the top. See how it's a little shorter than this car over here? Little customization job. An old 50s custom purchased by the Museum of Drag Racing in 1986 for a movie scene. Big Daddy fell in love with this because it reminded him of his youth and his 1940 Ford convertible that he cruised the Tampa streets during the early 50s. Big and Alan Parker completely disassembled the 40 down to the last bolt, installed a 1956 Chrysler Imperial Hemi in it, stuck a mopar in it. The Little Jewel Candy Canary. Lee Waldron of Fort Myers installed the red leather interior, and the Big now has a fast, quiet cruiser, often seen around Ocala and Friday nights at Wizards of Rod's functions. So this one still gets out and around, according to that sign, depending on how long ago that sign was put up. 1940 Ford two-door. Another two-door. Or Tudor. It's just a funny word. This is really cool. 1942 Sport convertible. Really neat. I like the hood, how different it is compared to the early models. 1949 Ford Custom two-door sedan. 1950 Crestliner. Like the old school music going. Sets the vibe. This is a Don and Pat's Hot 50. This is a 1955 Ford two-door. Check this out. We got James Dean down here. 1950 Mercury Sled. Look at that hot rod. That is pretty. I like that color. Love to drive something like that. It's a lowrider too. Right next to this 1950 Mercury. There's the Rebel himself back there. Look at that. And right behind me, you got more Fords over here. Check this out. 39 Ford Coupe Deluxe. And then behind me, getting up into the 60s. 67 Ford Fairlane 500 Ranchero. That's an awesome car. Would love to drive that. 1964 and a half Mustang, and I love the color. This was the award-winning top eliminator at the NHRA Nationals, now the U.S. Nationals, in Indianapolis in 1964. Big Daddy won the car with his Winds Jammers Swamp Rat V8 with a speed of 198. I think that car is actually right over there. I think I just saw it. It's a pretty cool Mustang. Check it out. Also right next to it, 1966 Mustang convertible with Marilyn Monroe right behind. This is a Chrysler Victory Siren on wheels, on trailer, powered by the engine. I'm sure that thing is loud. That's pretty neat. I've never seen anything like that before. Federal government ordered about 100 of these units when Russia obtained 100 megaton hydrogen bombs. These units were placed at top of tall bridges just in case someone punched the red button. That's pretty scary. That thing had to be loud. Here's an old Packard. Were Packards the one with the beds in the back? No, I think that's another car. That's pretty beautiful. That's pretty awesome. Shaking a baby. And here's another Chrysler 300 right here. This one, not restored. I bet it still runs though. Kind of like that. 1956 Chrysler 300B. All the classic music is coming out of the classic jukebox right here in the center of the museum. Shaking a baby, twist and shout. Makes me think of Ferris Bueller. Although I think that was the Beatles singing that version. Look at these cars, man. This is a hidden gem of a car museum. Reminds me of the one down across from the Ringling, the Sarasota Car Museum. Looks like Don had a thing for Corvairs, or does have a thing. A couple of them here. 1969 Corvair convertible. And this is a non-convertible, 65. Like the red paint. This one's got a 426 Hemi. This is a Dodge Coronet. And then right next to it, a Hemi Coronet, 1968 RT. That thing can fly. Check this out. Oh yeah. 1987 Bearcat Camaro, custom built for Bill Wishnick of New York. That thing is awesome. Totally reminds me of Knight Rider. Although that's a lot faster than Kit was. Crossley Station Wagon, 1948. That is a very small station wagon. I think he classified it as a woody wagon. I'm going to step out so you can kind of see it through the glass there. This is a 4-cylinder car, overhead cam, 26.5 horsepower, 50 miles to gallon, and this was built in 1948. These cars were built from 1939 till 1952. People who drove them were considered crackpots. Crossley crackpots. Also, there's another car over here by Crossley called the Hot Shot, 1951 Hot Shot. If it's 1940s and I'm getting 50 miles per gallon, I would call myself pretty smart. That's unheard of back then. Music stopped. We've got an old Airstream back here. Wonder if that belonged to the Garlits family. Don probably camped out there as well. It's right behind this 1956 Chrysler limousine. Beautiful car. And right next to a 1958 Chrysler convertible. 1958 was the year my grandparents got married. 1956, the year my grandpa graduated high school. And here is just like the car we saw outside, but in amazing condition, Chrysler Imperial, which is similar to the 300. Beautiful car. Yeah, I think this might be the same car outside. All right, check this out. This yellow Ford here. You can see into the hood. It's got a glass window over the motor. Never seen that before. That's pretty neat. I always think of Arthur Bach when I think of the MG convertibles. Purchased for Don's wife Pat to drive around town. That's pretty cool. So Don's wife Pat actually drove this around. I think, was it Arthur Bach that drove an MG? Or no, wait, he didn't drive. He had a driver. I like this green here. This is a 1974 Ghia. Really pretty color there. Really good condition. Got a Volkswagen Beetle back there. Over here we got a 2003 Chevy Corvette. This vehicle was purchased new in 2003 by the Museum of Drag Racing for future generations to enjoy. Oh, look at this. It's a T-Bird. I like the color too. All black Ford Thunderbird. Check this out. Is that a lawnmower? That's pretty cool. Oh, yeah. Tim Allen would love that. It's a Citgo lawnmower. I wonder if they took that to Fenway. It says right here, powered by a supercharged big block Chevrolet engine. This fantastic machine was built and used in Citgo gasoline commercial, in a commercial starring Big Daddy himself. That was in a commercial. Look at this Suzuki Trike motorcycle. Really good condition. 1982 Suzuki three-wheeler converted by Sonny and Dixie Rossi of San Antonio, Texas. That's pretty awesome. My dad used to have a Kawasaki three-wheeler. There's just all kinds of things to look at in here. There's a Chrysler 54 Deluxe Coupe. Here's a 56 Chrysler Dwight D. Eisenhower. Wait a minute. Icontina. That Icontina. That's a different Icontina. Mammy Eisenhower purchased this vehicle for Ike's birthday in 1956. Wow, this belonged to the president. Built especially for the Eisenhowers, it has a custom 45 RPM record player installed. Oh, wow. Plays records. It's still in the car, and it includes music of Victor Herbert, Cole Porter, and even Tchaikovsky's Symphony No. 6 in B minor. Don and Pat were fortunate enough to be the high bidders at the Herbie's auction of purchase the car for the Antique Museum. You can't reorder this one. Wow, really beautiful car. Wow, this belonged to Dwight D. Eisenhower, president. Really playing the classics. Love it. Reminds me of Back to the Future. Oh, wow. Check it out. Dude, it's a Fiero, a 1986 Pontiac Fiero, which I thought were cool looking cars. Smokey Yunick, we heard that name over there and mispronounced it as Eunuch. Totally changes the vibe there. Was an automotive genius, and he decided to build an engine that would get extremely good gas mileage. Having worked with General Motors for years, he chose the 1986 Pontiac 4-cylinder Fiero for the project. Smokey had been working for 30 years on getting better mileage in internal combustion engines, as less fuel stops and racing means better chance of winning. It goes on to say a lot more there. But really cool to see a Fiero in here. You don't see these every day. You used to see them a lot, like in the 90s, and they were everywhere. I'm sure they're all in junkyards now, but there's one right here if you want to come take a look at it. Really good shape. They kind of remind me of like miniature versions of another Back to the Future reference of the time machine, the DeLorean. Yeah, it's kind of like a scrunched up version, not as cool though, but still cool. I think my cousin actually bought one of these, or was going to. Big truck here, check this out. 1947 Studebaker dump truck. Really pretty green. Phil Baumgarten, Fort Lauderdale. Baumgarten, sand, coal, and gravel. I think this was an actual company and a working truck. I think I saw another Studebaker somewhere. Oh, it's right over here, beyond the Ford parts case. Look at all these collections. A lot of Coke cars. A lot of stuff to see in here. There's a fire engine over there. We'll get over there eventually. We got a red Studebaker here. 1948 half-ton pickup. Purchased from a stranger who drove it up Don's driveway one day in need of money. The truck was bought for the whopping sum of $400. Wow. He knew where to get his car sold though. That's incredible. Now, $400 back then would have been like, whew, I don't know. How much today? All right, it doesn't really say what year he purchased it. I just put in 1970, inflationcalculator.com. This is one of my favorite things to do. So this car today would have been worth $3,252, or that transaction would have been. So that's what $400 was in 1970 compared to today. He gave $400 for that. That's incredible. Says he restored it. It wasn't in this condition when he got it. Got a 1940 Studebaker. That looks like the car, one of Mr. Miyagi's cars from The Karate Kid. I think he had a Studebaker. And this is a 1940 Willys. We saw a Willys over in the other museum, newer one. This is a 31 Chevy. I like this car, very classic looking. Here's a 1925 Chevrolet rack body truck. It's a rack body, or stake body as some people call it. Nice little work truck. Then right next to it, the Ford Depot Hack 1923. Look at that. That's cool. Definitely seen something like that in an old movie. It's an original station wagon. The beginning of the station wagon. It says it right there on the sign. That's really neat. Henrietta 1926 Model T Touring, originally purchased from Ford dealer in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, by Mr. Clem Pigg of Mount Airy, North Carolina. Mount Airy, hey, Andy Griffith. This fine old Model T was driven less than 200 miles before it was stored. The owner was never able to drive it due to a transmission problem unknown to him. Consequently, it was boarded up in his barn where it sat for 40 years. Upon his death, his wife gave it to his nephew, who stored it in another 11 years, at which time it came to the possession of the museum. This museum. It is totally original except for some minor touch-up, paint in various areas. Totally original 1926 Model T Touring. That's pretty cool. As you can see, we're starting to get in the classics over here. This is a 1913 Metz Roadster. The first Metz model to add doors to the Roadster body. This car was stored in a Wisconsin hayloft from 1929 to 1967. It has been driven less than 10 miles since then. Wow. And then right next to it, check out this old Buick Model 10. Look at all the brass. Oh, it's got a crank right there. Just like the old Model T. This number one automaker in 1909, Buick offered the 10 and 4 body styles, at all of which had a 92-inch wheelbase, taking a more modern appearance. Only 8,100 were made. This charm was restored by Ray Faust and on loan to the museum by Abigail Faust of Hernando, Florida. Wow, that's a rare car, according to that sign. And look, there's one right next to it. Look at that. Buick Model 10 Surrey, 1909. That's incredible. I think this is one of the oldest cars here. The 1904 Orient buckboard. I don't know if I've ever heard of one of these. Look at that. Just a seat, some wheels, and some motor. Right there. Horseless carriage. Billed as the cheapest automobile in the world, the Orient buckboard was built by the Waltham Manufacturing Company of Waltham, Massachusetts. It is estimated that between 4,000 to 5,000 buckboards were built between 1903 and 1907 at a cost of only $375. The flexing of the wooden slats, see the wooden slats here, check that out. It's wood. That's amazing. The flexing of the wooden slats formed the bulk of the suspension system. This particular car is thought to be the factory prepared prototype with 2 engines that participated in the July 14th, 1904 Mount Washington Hill Climbing Contest, the first major event of its kind in the country. So this has some historical significance as well. I've never seen one of these before. This is pretty neat. What a treat. The Orient. Moon, 1905 to 1929. The ideal American car, as the Moon was called, was introduced as a $3,000 automobile. I've never seen one of these either, or let alone knew they existed. Moon. I believe that stands for something. It's a really pretty color. It's got the red wheels. It's pretty neat. It's a big car here, the 1922 Buick 4-passenger coupe. You can see the size comparison to the Moon right there. And then right next door, we've got a Matilda Dodge, a 31 4-door sedan Dodge, 1930s. And then another one right next to it, not in as great of shape. This is a 32 Dodge coupe. I think my grandpa used to have a 32 Dodge coupe. He would have had it in like the 40s or the 50s. Would have been like a hand-me-down rat rod. Coca-Cola. Love seeing these old Coke machines. Check it out. Got the Coke right there. That actually sounds really good. Old Coke bottles, 7-Up bottles, and an old fire engine. Oh, this is from Wildwood, Florida. Just down the street. So my grandparents used to own and live in Wildwood, Florida. That was their snowbird home. I've shown it before. Really cool to see the old fire engine from town here. Fire engine red. Used to work for the fire department, so that's really neat. Always cool to see old fire equipment and tools like this here. Look at this old cart. This is a 44 Chevrolet 2-ton pumper. Pumper is another term for a fire truck. Pumper engine. It's one of the few vehicles purchased during World War II for civilian use, originally in 1942 or 1944. So this was purchased during World War II for Wildwood, Florida. Check out this dude right here, 1939 Fiat Firefly. It's a cool car in memory of Mr. Bob Daniels here. Looks like he passed on in 2007. Thanks for the memories. I think he raced this car. Actually, I think that's him right there with the old Firefly. That's really neat. Bob Daniels. And right here is a Coronet 500. Really big car. I wonder what year this is. It's like 60 something. Let's see. It says it right here. Dodge Coronet 500, 1967, 2-door hardtop. Naomi Tillett donated this vehicle. Really nice donation. Got someone's Matchbox Hot Wheel collection. All kinds of cars. Looks like there's no specific order. They're just kind of all thrown in here. This huge case. We even got airplanes down there. We got older cars here. This display case that looks like a gas pump. And it continues over here. All kinds of trucks. A lot of Coke trucks up there. I might even have a couple of those. This is Don talking about his collection. He's actually in this room here. Yeah, it just keeps going, folks. Just gonna let the camera roll a little bit. Old gas pumps. Kindle motor oil sign. Look at this. We got some military stuff in here too. Look at these bombs. Whoa. He's got one heck of a collection, not just automotive stuff. Let's see what's in this case. Some military stuff. Naval gun factory. Old hat. Almost missed this old drag car over here. This is really cool. When you think of hot rod, I kind of picture something like this for me. DG 36 Ford Coupe in 1953, when Don and Pat Garlits built their first drag car, they channeled a 36 5-window coupe. See, that's what I thought too. This is like your typical drag car. It's a 5-window coupe, 6 inches over the frame, and installed a hot Mercury flathead V8. There it is right there. That's pretty neat. The car doubled for a lightweight coupe. It was later destroyed when Don traded it to Bill Ringo for the 1939 Ford Coupe that now has the Hemi engine. Don, Ed, and Alan Parker built this replica for future generations to enjoy. Okay, so this is not the original car. This is the replica of that car. Pretty neat though. Here's a picture of the original. Lake Wells, Florida, circa 1953. I'm always keeping my eyes peeled for an old Maxwell car, specifically one made in Newcastle, Indiana, my hometown and birthplace, because odds are that one of my great-grandfathers, way back when, that used to work at Maxwell, probably built it. I've never seen one in the wild, just the Maxwell cars built in New York. This is one of the most well put together, well maintained, organized, everything has a label, museums I've ever been into, specifically auto. Really nice. It's a really good stop. I hate that I put it off this long. There's so much to see, but there's also time to come back and see more. Check out this old whizzer here. Look at this car. I missed this one. Doesn't it remind you of Beverly Hillbillies? This is a Simplicity 1904, built in 1904 by Ira Hollinsby in Greenburg, Indiana. Well, look at that. My uncle works at a car place in Greenburg, Indiana, present day. Honda. This very rare vehicle has serial number 1, and it is the only one Mr. Hollinsby ever built. Everything is handmade except the wheels, engine, and transmission. This is a homemade automobile, the only one of its kind, and I can see why someone would want to put this in their museum. It's a Hoosier. That's pretty cool. I had no idea. And on the wall over here before the restrooms, near the entrance, it's a movie poster of a movie I honestly I've never heard of, starring Jeff Bridges. Tucker, the man in his dream, standing before that beautiful car. Can imagine it's about old cars. I kind of want to watch it now. Comment below if you've seen Tucker. Is it any good? 1909 Brush Model D Runabout, designed by Allinson Brush, who also designated the first Cadillac in 1903. That is a very old car. And then right next to it, we've got a Ford Sears Roebuck. Looks like this is a car that you would have ordered on the catalog. Originally a pickup truck, however, in those years, Sears and Roebuck offered a wooden replacement body for your Ford chassis. These bodies were very pretty and turned your old Ford into a very sporty model, which looked like a speedster. Oh, okay, I see it. I had no idea that stuff existed. Mr. Rich Grigorski purchased it from the professor and donated it to the Don Garlits Museum so the younger generation could see how primitive cars were in 1917. So this is 1917, and it looks like he purchased it off of Charles Benjamin of Farmingdale, Michigan. I left that part out. Although you're not supposed to touch anything, there's a lot of stuff to touch. It's just cases and cases. Walls are covered. Cars galore. Love it. This has been a really cool stop. Alright guys, don't know how much footage I got. This might be a shorter video, although I filmed a lot in there. Went a little long-winded. Might be a long-winded video. Anywho, there's always much ahead, but this is going to be the end of this one. Thank you so much for watching, sticking with me. Again, Happy New Year everyone, and we'll see you very soon. Maybe see you tomorrow. Know you're awesome, know you're loved, no matter who you are, what you're going through. Just know that there's always much ahead. Love you guys. Appreciate you. See you later. Make sure you stop and check them. Check them out. It's just before the turnpike to turn off to Orlando. So this might be a cool stop to hit up before or after Disney World or Universal. Or if you're going to Tampa, there you go. All right, that's it. That's the video. Hope you enjoyed it.